All right. Good morning, everyone. Today is a MUSTAK day, but our host is in transit to Ormoc Leyte together with our President and CEO, Mr. Mike Asgari. But nothing to worry about because the show must go on. And today, we are blessed that we are having discussion about breast cancer awareness. As we all know, that October is a breast cancer month. To discuss furthermore, may we call on the call our our certified naturopathic practitioner, Dr. Teresita Rustia. Good morning, Doc.
Hello, good morning, good night, good evening in the US. Anyway, I'll be talking about breast cancer awareness and the benefits you could get from muscadine grapes, no, that you could find in capsules in a bottle of Mass Natural. Next, please. Okay, now I will be talking first of the anatomy of the female breast. No, mostly the female breast is fats, and you find there lobules radiating around the breast, and there are ducts because inside the lobules there are lobes that produces milk, and this milk has to pass through the ducts to the nipple. Okay, around the nipple is a dark skin, a darker color of the skin, and we call that the areola. And it's somewhat that the skin here is somewhat thicker. Next, please. All right. Now there are different types of breast tissue. There's the glandular, also called lobules. No, these glandular tissue are the ones that produces milk, and most of your breast, the breast size is actually determined by the fatty tissues, and there are connective or fibrous tissues that holds the glandular and fatty breast tissue in place. Now, what holds the breast tissues to the ribs are actually muscle tissues, but they are not considered parts of the breast. Next slide, please. Now, breast cancer occurs when breast cells mutate, meaning changes take place and grow out of control, creating a mass of a tissue which could be a tumor. Breast cancer can invade and grow into the tissue surrounding your breast. And the moment the breast cancer cells go to the other body organs, that is now what you call as metastatic cells, or the cancer cells had actually metastasized. All right? So you can see that the breast with a tumor, and I guess it had grown in the lobular tissue or in the lobes. If this is the case, I would like to tell you mostly tumor that grows in the lobules are mostly benign. Okay, next slide, please. Now, again, the female breast anatomy, you have lobes. Each breast has between 15 to 20 lobes or sections. These lobes surround the nipple like spokes on a wheel. No, you have seen that in the first picture. Glandular tissues, meaning these are the lobules you find in the lobes, no? And they have tiny bulb-like glands at the end that produce milk. So, in the lobules are found in the lobes, and there are 15 to 20 lobes around the nipple-like structure, but this is found inside. Now, the mammary glands, no, actually are connected to milk ducts or mammary ducts. These small tubes or ducts carry milk from the glandular tissue or from the lobules to the nipples. And the nipples, you find it at the center of the areola. And the nipple has about nine milk ducts as well as nerves. In other words, there are 9 openings of the milk ducts to the nipple. Okay, and also the nipples are richly supplied with nerves. Okay, all right. The reason why it is actually for arousal. All right, it's called erogenous. All right, next slide, please. Now, the areolae, this is the dark colored area of the skin around the nipple. And there are glands there called Montgomery's glands. Why? Because these glands secrete lubricating oil, and this oil protects the nipple and skin from chafing during breastfeeding. You know, first time mothers who really had to breastfeed their children, they actually usually experience, no, they usually experience irritations in the nipple area. Now, blood vessels, no, the cells here, the tissues here need food, and at the same time metabolic waste has to be released from the breast area. So therefore you find blood vessels there throughout the breast, no, and that is actually the function of the blood vessels, so you really find them all over the body. Now there are also lymph vessels. Now these are parts of the lymphatic system. Lymph vessels are connected to nodes or nodules, no, these are actually, the nodes are actually glands that is found under the armpits, in the chest and other places, and they are also found in our groins. Now, what are these lymphatic nodes for? The lymphatic nodes, this is where white blood cells mature. And this is the one really, the lymphatic nodes are the ones that releases white blood cells to an area that needs help, especially if there is an infection. Okay? The white blood cells there released by the lymph nodes will pass through the lymph vessels and be delivered to the white blood cells will be delivered to that part of the body where there is an infection or where there is an inflammation, so that the microorganisms that could be growing causing the infection could be engulfed by the white blood cells. Now, as I've said, there are nerves, and nipples have hundreds of nerve endings, which makes them extremely sensitive to touch and arousal. Okay? Males also have breasts, but usually their breasts are without fats, and their nipples are actually also very sensitive because there are lots of nerve endings in there. Why? Because for the function of arousal, erogenous function. Now, the areola is very small, or it is more found internally. Okay, next slide, please. The root cause of nearly all diseases, cancer especially, and even diabetes, heart disease, no, is an overload of toxins and chemicals accumulating inside our body. All right? These are the ones causing us our diseases and our discomforts. Next slide, please. Now, 1 in 8 women in the United States will develop breast cancer in her lifetime. Okay? This was the findings last year. This was the result of the studies. I really don't know how many, no? So 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer in her lifetime. Will males develop breast cancer too? Yes, but women are more prone to breast cancer because of the function of the breast and because of the presence of different tissues where cancer cells could develop and grow. Okay, next slide, please. Women are diagnosed with breast cancer every minute. You could just imagine that. Okay? All right? Next slide, please. Breast cancer symptoms. Now, changes in the nipple, especially if there are discharge. What else? Lump in the breast. You could feel something there that is a little bit hard compared to the other tissues. Changes in breast color, no? And peeking of the breast skin, just like the the skin of an orange or of a citrus fruit. No, there are pittings in it, and at the same time, breast or nipple pain. Okay, so whenever you experience any of this, you must start, uh, uh, feeling your breast, touching it, and seeing where there must be a problem. And then at the same time, you could always consult your healthcare provider or your doctor about it. All right, next slide, please. Now, this is a picture of a normal cell and a cancer cell. A normal cell has only one nucleus. Okay, and there is also a single nucleolus. What is the function of the single nucleolus? This is the one that will also be of help in the division of the cell. Okay? Now, a cancer cell has multiple nuclei and multiple nucleoli. Okay? And why? Because when the nuclei, when the genetic material there doubles, you know, what will happen? There will be division of cells. So therefore, since cancer cells are multinucleated, therefore they really divide so fast, and with every division lots of cancer cells are being produced. The truth is, cancer cells can multiply in a matter of 3 minutes. So that is how fast they grow, they multiply. All right? Now, what about our cells? How fast do they multiply? It actually depends, no, on the kind of cell. Let us say red blood cells, they divide every 120 days. White blood cells, every 7 to 10 days. So therefore, here in the Philippines, today is a Friday. By Thursday, I have produced new white blood cells to replace the dying ones. Our cells, they die. Our cells mature. Our cells, after doing a function, they age. And then after that, they die. So therefore, they must be replaced. Cancer cells, they don't die. They just keep on multiplying. Okay? So next slide, please. All right. What are the stages of breast cancer? So if you would notice, no, there is the armpit with the nodes, okay, and at the same time, uh along the breast area, there are also the presence of nodes, right? But these are very close to the armpit. Now, depending on the uh, action taken by the cancer cells on your nodes, we have different stages of breast cancer. So stage 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next slide, please. Now, the stages of breast cancer. Stage 0, the disease is only in the ducts and lobes of the breast. It has not spread to the surrounding tissue. It is called non-invasive cancer. Okay? All right? So, that's it. Stage 1, the disease is invasive. Cancer cells are now in the normal breast tissue. Okay? So, in the normal breast tissue, there are no cancer cells yet. Okay? And there are actually two types. Stage 1A, the tumor is up to 2 centimeters. It has not spread to the lymph nodes, no? So therefore, the tumor is up to 2 centimeters. So it's still quite small. Okay? Now, the tumor could be in the breast and is less than 2 cm. But the tumor is in the lymph nodes of the breast. Get it? So in stage 1A, the tumor, no, has not spread to the lymph nodes. So in stage 1B, the tumor is in the lymph nodes. Now, it could be less than 2 cm, but the presence of the tumor near the lymph nodes or in the lymph nodes is makes it the stage 1B a little more advanced. Now, you could have seen here the T, the NO, and the MO. The T stands for tumor. N stands for nodes. M stands for metastasis. Get it? So, in stage 1 and B, what is it? No? There could be no tumor in the nodes and there could be tumor. So when the tumor is near the nodes or in the nodes, therefore it is a much advanced stage. All right? Okay. Next slide, please. So, as you could see, there are no there are no tumor in the milk ducts and it is just in the lobes. Get it? All right? Now, so zero, non-invasive. Okay? All right? Next is slide, please. Just in the lobes. And usually, when you have lobular tumor, that is more benign. So it is not really that cancerous or metastatic. Okay? Now, so stage 1A, the tumor is 2 centimeters. And stage 2B, you find the tumor now, the clusters of cancer cells in the lymph nodes. And if you would notice, the lymph nodes are really not specifically in the main breast area, but it is around the breast area. And you could also see here, there are lymph nodes in the armpit. Okay? Why? Because as I've said a while ago, the lymph nodes, actually, that is where the white blood cells mature, and it is the lymph nodes that will what? That will release white blood cells to act on microorganisms that that might cause infection, and at the same time, it is also to ward off cancer cells. Okay, next slide, please. So, stage 2. Now, stage 2 is described as invasive breast cancer. There are two types, 2A and 2B. A tumor may not be found in the breast, but cancer cells have spread to at least one or three lymph nodes. Okay, they may not be tumor, but cancer cells have developed and they have spread to one or three lymph nodes. Stage 2A may show a 2 to 5 centimeter in the breast. So there is no clumping yet of the breast cancer. So there is no mass, there is no tumor yet. But then at the same time, the number of lymph nodes where the cancer cells have spread could be 1 to 3 lymph nodes. Okay? And it could have not spread to the axillary lymph nodes yet. But it could also happen that some of them could be in the axillary lymph nodes already. So stage 2B, the tumor is 2 to 5 centimeter and the disease has spread to 1 or 3 axillary lymph nodes. So this is a more advanced stage of stage 2. Or the tumor is larger than 5 centimeter. Okay? All right? So, stage 2A, 2 to 5 centimeter. Stage 2B, if there is a tumor, it has more than 5 centimeter. But the cancer cells had not spread to the axillary lymph nodes yet. Okay? All right? Next, please. Now, another stage 3. There are 3 stages. Okay? This is truly a very invasive breast cancer already. There are 3 types. 3A, the tumor is in the breast and any size or no tumor is found in the breast but is in the lymph nodes. So there could be no tumor but or mass, but the thing is, the disease has spread to more than four lymph nodes, which could be in the breast or in the axillary area, but it has not spread yet to the other parts of the body. Stage 3B, a more advanced type, the tumor may be of any size, and the disease has spread to the chest wall, and the swelling, there's already the swelling of the breast, and there is now 9 lymph nodes. Okay? Where you find the breast cancer cells. Inflammatory breast cancer is considered stage 3B. So there is really a swelling that could really be found. Stage 3C, a really more advanced stage, there may be no sign of cancer in the breast, or a tumor may be of any size and may have spread to the chest wall or breast skin. Okay? All right? So there may be no sign of cancer in the breast or a tumor of any size. But the thing is, the cancer cells have spread to the chest wall or breast skin. So this is the time where there is really discoloration of the skin of the breast. And the disease has spread to 10 or more axillary lymph nodes or nodes above or below the collarbone or breastbone. So, if you would notice, the severity or the stage of the breast cancer is more, uh, uh, what's this, classified according to the lymph nodes that has been, uh, where the cancer cells have spread. So, stage 3C, it is actually more 10 or more. 3B, 9. 3A, more than four lymph nodes. Okay, next slide, please. Now, the stage 4, this is the metastatic type, wherein the tumor can be of any size and the disease has spread to the other organs and tissues, no, such as your bones and lungs, brain, liver, distant lymph nodes, or chest wall. So, tumor, any nodes, and at the same time, metastatic truly. Okay? Next slide, please. So, where there are tumors, I would like to tell you, no, angiogenesis could take place. All right? The body tries to protect itself. So therefore, there are most likely the body will separate the uh, the green one here represents the cancer cells. The body will actually try to separate our normal cells from the cancer cells. And that is where a membrane encloses the cancer cells to separate it from the normal cells. Now, at first, the cancer cells actually, through diffusion, gets its nourishment from the normal cells. But since they have grown in number, what will happen is the food that is being diffused or collected from the normal cells become will not augment anymore the food required by the cancer cells. So what will happen? The cancer cells, through the process of angiogenesis, will develop blood vessels. Angio means the beginning of, no, rather angio means blood vessels, vascular blood vessels, and genesis means the beginning of. So therefore, what will happen is that blood vessels will develop. Why? To supply the cancer cells with the necessary nourishment they require. Okay? So, what will happen? The blood vessels that they have developed will also be, no, the the passageway. The blood vessels will be used as the passageway of the cancer cells so that they could spread to the other parts of the body. So, angiogenesis could be the initiation to metastasis. Okay? Now, so therefore, angiogenesis supplying blood vessels, no, to the cancer tumors should be prevented. And if it is already there, these blood vessels must be destroyed so that the cancer cells will be having no nourishment and they will weaken and soon they will die. So you must have heard that some people the tumor is getting smaller and smaller. Why? Because of the stop of the nourishment to the cancer cells. They become weak and then they slowly die. Okay? Now, is this process possible, the anti-angiogenesis? Of course, it is very possible. And is it possible that angiogenesis can be avoided so that there will be no feeding of the cancerous tissues, of the cancerous tumor? Yes, of course. The body can protect itself. However, it should be done with proper nourishment, with proper nutrition. Okay, next slide, please. Now, when it comes to the stages of breast cancer, no, now, 63% of female breast cancers are found at the local stage. Meaning to say, no, it is just in the primary site. It is not spreading. They are not metastatic. Okay? Just in one site. So 60% of female breast cancers, and most likely these are benign. Now, the 5-year survival rate for local breast cancer is 98.9%. Why? Because most likely the abnormal cells are benign. This is the number of people in a treatment group who are alive 5 years after they were diagnosed. Now, about 5 to 6% of women with breast cancer first find it after it has spread. Why? Because you already suffer from pain because of inflammations. Okay? Next slide, please. Now, what are different ways to reduce your breast cancer risk? Number one, smoking. What else? Alcohol. Another thing, control your weight. Because as we develop more fats, no, fats could actually initiate no inflammation. Get it? And inflammations give our body the wrong signal. Okay? What about it? You will know later. And of course, mothers who give birth, breastfeed your children. And most of all, let us release the toxins, the free radicals in our body. How? By being physically active. No? Let us avoid the development of fat tissues. Okay? And avoid exposure to pollutions as well as number one, radiations. No? So let us limit exposure to radiation, even sunlight. No, reduce. I did not say stop exposing yourself to sunlight. Okay? All right? No, just we have to limit. Okay? Next slide, please. Now, I have mentioned pollutants. Do you know that we are actually producing pollutants inside our body? Why? Simple. Water collects minerals from the colon. Your large intestine, that is where your undigested food decompose. So there are actually substances of decomposition which are very toxic and full of free radicals as well. Now, why decomposition takes place in the large intestine? Because there are bacteria of decay that would eat no the undigested food, and they have metabolic waste, a lot of them. And at the same time, another metabolic waste they produce are acids, which could actually cause inflammations. Remember, the quality of water your blood actually distribute to our body, to our cells, to our organs, the quality depends on your colon. So therefore, avoid having a dirty colon. Bowel movement must be there daily. No, if you could do it 2 times to 3 times a day, that will be very good because that means the water the blood is collecting is not that toxic it is not really that dirty. So diseases begin from a dirty colon. Next slide, please. Now, if the blood is very acidic, therefore, it delivers acidic water. Now, the inflammations happen. Like, for example, when harmful things like glass splinter or wood splinter penetrate your skin, no, there will be swelling, there will be pain because inflammation happens. Why? Because whenever there are foreign materials that could penetrate your skin and other parts of the body, what will happen? No, what will happen now is that white blood cells would interpret it that there are microorganisms there are problems there are toxins there, and white blood cells don't only engulf microbes but toxins as well. Okay? So, when there is a cytokine release and there is swelling, the white blood cells become overly active. Get it? You get it? All right. Now, next slide, please. Now, we are born with our immune system. Children, they have very big thymus. Why? This is for their protection, young children, especially babies. But as we grow older, the thymus becomes smaller. Now, this is where the T cells are formed. T cells are marker cells. You will know their function later on. Now, T cells, they mature, and B cells, they mature in the spleen. Okay? So, we must be very careful. We must take care of our spleen. Toxins, they actually act, tonsils rather, they actually act as invaders for, they distinguish invaders for destruction. Ibig sabihin, meaning to say, they are simply like filters, no, in our, before our throat, at the end of our palate. Now, lymph glands, no, they actually are for the storage of white blood cells and maturation of white blood cells. The bone marrow, this is where B cells are produced, and the B cells, like T cells, these are marker cells. Now, and at the same time, this is also where the red bone marrow, this is also where the red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and other antibodies are being produced. Okay, next slide, please. All right. Now, marker cells and natural killer cells. Now, there are different kinds of white blood cells. There are macrophages, no? These are the ones that engulf microorganisms, infectious ones, and there are natural killer cells, no? And these natural killer cells, they kill bacteria, and at the same time, these are the ones that really destroy cancer cells. Okay? Now, if there is a cancer cell, no? If there is a cancer cell, you know, what will happen is that for the natural killer cell to distinguish it, we need marker cells. So in this diagram, that letter Y is a T cell. It is an antibody. It is a marker cell. So around the tumor cell, there are receptor sites. Now, the marker cell or T cell will attach itself to the receptor site, and with that, the natural killer cells could actually distinguish that this is a tumor cell or a cancer cell, an abnormal cell that must be destroyed. If you would notice, there is that red crooked line. What is that? That is the interferon gamma produced by natural killer cells. And with a sufficient amount of the interferon gamma, this tumor cell will explode. It will be destroyed. So you could just imagine we have this kind of protection inside us, but why do we still get sick? I would like to tell you that we should be eating less animal meat because when animal meats are metabolized, used by the body, and decompose the excessive ones by the microorganism, they produce metabolic waste that become what? That become mask, no, of the tumor cell. They surround the tumor cell. So if the tumor cells are surrounded, the receptor site are covered with protein metabolic waste. Marker cells cannot know, cannot learn where it must be attached. Okay? All right? So natural killer cells, therefore, will also not know where to or how to attack a tumor cell because the because of the absence or the incapability of the marker cells. Okay? All right? So we must be eating less animal protein. Next slide, please. All right. This is a breast cancer cell. Okay. Now, these white things here are nothing else but natural killer cells. And take note of the tentacle-like structures around the natural killer cells that develops when it is to attack a cancer cell. You would notice these tentacle-like structures penetrates the cell body. Why? So that the natural killer cells could actually inject the interferon gamma that it has produced. So you could just imagine how beautiful our body is, okay? How it protects ourselves. But the thing is, proper nourishment must be done. Next slide, please. Next. Okay. So therefore, what is our road to wellness? You must detox. Defecation is truly important. Bowel movement is important. Proper nourishment is good. So we should be eating more vegetables, less carbohydrates, because carbohydrates, the moment it turns into glucose, it is the food for microorganisms and at the same time cancer cells. Now, improve our immune system. Now, in this case, especially with breast cancer cell, or you have to massage your axillary area, your armpit. Okay, so you try to squeeze no the nodes so that the nodes could be cleaned up, and at the same time we should expect our body, or we should help our body to produce new tissues and cells to replace the old and dying ones. And we should maintain and balance our nutrition. So therefore, less carbohydrates, less meat, animal meat. You can get protein, the building block of our body, from plants, right? And you have to maintain and balance with the proper lifestyle. Okay? All right, next, please. Now, our body can produce antioxidants, the superoxide dismutase. Okay? Now, as a result of oxidative stress and at the same time metabolic processes, your emotions included, no, reactive oxygen species are being produced. And these are toxins. Okay? This could be free radicals that could actually be acting on our body. Next slide, please. Now, we have lots of ORAC. These are substances that actually will act on the ROS, no? On the free radicals and on the toxins. These are the ORAC. Okay, next slide, please. I would like to tell you too that there are lots of food that we really could help. No? Now, one thing that causes inflammation is called COX or COX. What is this? This is the cyclooxygenidase. What is this? This is the one that will help us produce substances that could be acting as warning signs. For example, prostaglandin. With COX, we could be producing prostaglandin. But too much of prostaglandin is also hazardous. Now, with the presence of prostaglandin, we could feel pain. And that is now the body warning us. That is a good function of the COX. But then, however, too much of it could result to too much inflammation and at the same time a lot of functional aberrations. Get it? So we should be really be having a good body system that could maintain and balance whatever it is that is happening in us. Now the thing is, a lot of good things are found in plants. Like for example, the muscadine grapes, wherein the skin is truly very thick and the seeds are quite big. Most grapes, they have 90%, rather, they have 90% flesh, very thin skin, and very small seeds. Some grapes are actually even without seeds. Okay? No? Seedless. Because why? Because we want everything to be suitable to our mouth, to our taste, to our tongue. Okay? All right? Now, what about muscadine grapes? Muscadine grapes is 40% skin, 10% seed, and what else? It is 50% flesh. I would like to tell you that the red wine in France is coming from muscadine grapes. Okay? And that is the reason why the French people are not really that obese. Most of them are thin, and very few are actually experiencing breast cancer, cardiovascular diseases, diabetes. Why? Because of the red wine they take every time they finish their milk. No? 1 jigger is actually enough. No? Now, 1/4 glass is really better. Okay? Now, this red wine contains a lot of phytochemicals that really helps our body to be more healthy. Now, most Americans they finish their meal with sodas or with coffee. And the coffee usually has what? Coffee creamers, milk, and what else? Sugar. Okay? All right? Now, the thing is, we really have lots of things to know. Like, for example, the sweetener they use is from aspartame, and aspartame becomes formaldehyde in our blood. Okay? Now, the thing is, too much sugar actually could be the cause of diabetes. Now, in plants, you do find a lot of good things, just like our muscadine grapes. You know, there is a substance called chromium in the seed of grapes, and this chromium is an insulin helper. Okay? And this will get rid of sugar in your blood because it helps insulin open the doors of or the receptor sites or of our cells to open wider so that more sugar could get in. Okay? All right? Now, while waiting for the slides that has been that is a part of my presentation, I would like to mention to you that the muscadine grapes truly is a very big help. No? So you must now take the action to be having the muscadine grapes in the form of the capsules in Mass Natural. So muscadine helps truly is a big help. All right. Next, so that's it. So you could see the seed and you could see the muscadine grapes. All right. Next slide, please. Now, the phytochemicals, polyphenols, resveratrol, ellagic acid, gallic acid, and polyphenol tannins. Now, there are also flavonoids like in the form of anthocyanins and quercetin and fibers. Now, I would like to mention to you that the fibers in muscadine could be in the form of soluble or insoluble. Soluble meaning it dissolves in water, and thus the ingredients of the fiber could be of big help. Now, the insoluble ones will actually help you with our defecation or bowel movement because the insoluble ones will be attracting water, absorbing water. So, therefore, your stool will not be that hard. You could avoid constipation. Okay? All right? Now, next slide, please. Ellagic acid, no, is a polyphenolic that is actually a very superior antioxidant. This regulate the genes. No, what are the genes we have? Our genes actually is in our DNA, and these actually these are the ones that that we have inherited from our parents and describes our character traits. Now, you could actually, if you preserve, you regulate our genes, no, aberrations will not take place. What will happen? Mutation will not take place. So therefore, our cells will be really healthy. Now, also, it is actually, if our genes are protected, what will happen? It is health disorders could be improved, and so with our well-being. Okay? So therefore, very good to protect us the ellagic substances, ellagic acids in muscadine. Now, next slide, please. Now, gallic acid and ellagic acid and other polyphenolic tannins, no, are very potent antioxidants that have metabolic and anti-inflammatory and anti-cancer activities. As I have said, they protect our genes, they protect our DNA. So free radicals and toxic substances are actually what? Kept out, okay, of our DNA, of our genes. So therefore, mutation, development of cancer cells will be avoided. Now, I would like to tell you also that ellagic acid has anti-adherence effect, meaning to say it will not allow bacteria or other microorganisms to be attached to our cells and tissues. Okay, because the moment microbes are able to attach themselves to our cells, they could now penetrate our cells and they could be fed and they could multiply, causing infection. All right, next slide, please. Now, so therefore, in that way, ellagic acid inhibits cancer cell growth, okay, by protecting our genes. Resveratrol blocks the cell cycle of cancer cells, meaning to say cell division. Now, the antioxidant, anti-cancer, and chemo-prevented actions of muscadine help prevent cancer and stop the growth of cancer cells. So these two really are truly of big help. Next slide, please. Now, resveratrol, I have mentioned to you a while ago what COX is, right? Cyclooxygenase. Now, a compound present in breast cancer and other cancers. Why? Because too much of it could actually cause what? It could cause a lot of inflammations. So therefore, our the what happens now is that uh, our natural defenses are actually affected. So resveratrol inhibits tumor growth at three different stages. Initiation, meaning to say the development of when multiplication and the development of good cells or normal cells to cancer cells, or the division of cancer cells, and or multiplication and promotion, meaning and at the same time the metastatic action. Resveratrol is truly a big help. So actually it is being described as to be chemo preventive. Okay? All right, next slide please. All right. Resveratrol at the same time is said to be anti-aging. Why? Because it protects the mitochondrium of the cell, and at the same time, no, it repairs damaged mitochondrium. Now, if this is your cell, you would notice that at the upper side there is the mitochondrion. Okay? And so there is another picture, the one in green, that is how the mitochondrium looks like. What is the function of the mitochondrium? The mitochondrium, this is where no food is burned by oxygen. So therefore, if food is burned, we have energy. Okay? And so if we have energy, what will happen? What will happen now is that our cells could work. Get it? Our cells could work. Our cells have energy to do their work. And so organs are composed of tissues, and tissues are composed of cells. Get it? So healing needs energy. Get it? Work needs energy. So therefore, with the presence of resveratrol, our mitochondrium are actually what? Being protected. Why? From the attacks of from the attacks of free radicals and toxins. Get it? Now, I would like to mention here that resveratrol also, when it comes to cancer cells, together with proanthocyanidin from the from the seeds of the muscadine, they work together to destroy the mitochondrium of cancer cells. So you could just imagine the resveratrol and the proanthocyanidin are selective. They, the resveratrol, protects the mitochondrium of normal cells, but resveratrol, together with proanthocyanidin, they destroy the mitochondrium of the cancer cells. What is the mitochondrium good for producing, to help us burn the food, and so therefore it works as just like as the incinerator of the cells that is producing energy, burning the food. Now, what will happen to the cancer cell if their mitochondrium is damaged? They have no energy. So they have no energy, they cannot multiply, and then therefore at the same time they die. Okay? All right, next slide please. Now, aside from the phytochemicals that I have mentioned, resveratrol, no, there is also the presence of anthocyanins, the pigment. They are actually flavonoids. And also there is quercetin. What are their functions? They are good antioxidants, antimicrobial. They actually could kill microorganisms. And they also improve blood circulation, so visual health is improved. And neurological health, meaning to say they are very good in collecting toxins, especially those in the brain and those that may be surrounding our nerves. So, being antimicrobial, they protect against communicable diseases. You know, when we have infections, communicable diseases, there are lots of inflammations, and inflammations with with the metabolic waste that there is in there. What will happen? What will happen now is that there could be the development and multiplication multiplication of cancer cells. Next slide, please. Now, proanthocyanidin that I have mentioned a while ago is found in the grapeseed extract. Very strong antioxidant. It is also an antihistamine, anti-allergy, and at the same time, it is truly working well with the other components of the grapes, no? Of the skin of the grapes, like the resveratrol, as I have mentioned, in the destruction of mitochondrial membranes, no, of cancer cells. Okay, next slide, please. Now, in the grapeseed of the muscadine, you find the resveratrol. And aside from that, there's the presence also of collagen. Now, in the muscadine grapes, you find proline and glycine, two amino acids that combines with vitamin C. Vitamin C is also found in muscadine, but I would like to tell you that you might as well also add some vitamin C supplementation or eat fruits rich in vitamin C. So what will happen? Vitamin C and the amino acid chains, no, they are like fibers that they twist together and they form a rope-like structure, becoming a collagen fiber. And this collagen stick together if you glue them together. What will happen? No cancerous materials could pass in between cells, and no cancerous cells could also metastasize into your different body organs. Next slide, please. Now, every sunset is a day less to live, but every sunrise is one more day of hope. So, there may be pains, discomforts, but nourishing our body properly could actually be a big help. And there is always the hope that the body could actually heal. However, proper nourishment, proper detoxification must be given. Okay? And I would like to tell you the muscadine grapes is truly a big help. Now, we must take action. So, next slide, please. So, our body has the capacity to protect and heal itself. This is a gift from God. It's up to us to take action, give what the body needs. I would like to tell you that with the food we are eating now, especially the processed ones, you really need a lot of antioxidants. And antioxidants are richly found in plants, like the muscadine grapes. Next slide, please. So, start now. Change the way we live with Mass Natural. I've been waiting for this product for a long time, and I would like to tell you, I am now being able to help a lot of people. The thick skin, the big seeds really are amazing. Okay? So the Mass Natural with the 650 milligrams inside its capsule is truly a big help. Taking one capsule 2 times a day will really help you. Okay? Now, if there are health issues, therefore, you must really take more. Next slide, please. So, a healthy body would mean a healthy mind. With a body that is unstressed because the antioxidants are working, what will happen? You really will be avoiding oxidative stresses. Your brain will be working well, and so are your emotions. Okay? So, as I always say, but God did not give us a bad life or a good life. God gave us life. It's up to us to keep our body healthy and having a good life. So, this is the time that you should look into your lifestyle. So, So with that, I would like to say good evening to the people abroad and good morning to the people here in the Philippines and nearby countries where we are of almost the same time zone. So with that, I would like to say salamat po. Thank you for listening.